Awesome. How's it going, Josh?
Uh,
Oxford, commonly known as Ox. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, Jake. How you doing,
I'm
man?
doing good. And even
Oh,
just here on your display name, it says Josh Oxford with the O and the X
oh,
capitalized.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
I do that for it's just so people like kind of know what's going on.
yeah. Everyone calls you Ox, right?
A lot of people do.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. My mother calls me Joshua. Yeah, it goes both ways. And then, of course, there are the people that don't know which one to say, so they just strictly issuing like use a pronoun or something like that, so they don't have to commit to one or the other.
yeah. They just go with the general. What
And
does Ox mean to you? Like since I know you released an album and it was the Oxtet, right?
and that's my band.
Yeah.
Well, so the original Ox was my father.
Okay.
He was known as the Ox
The
with
Ox.
two E's and Thee Ox.
Was
And
that just what his friends called him, and then it stuck
oh
kind of
yeah,
thing?
exactly. That was, and before my accident as well, we were both kind of physically imposing and very strong.
Yeah,
He was a bit taller than me, but was very, very, very strong. And back in the day, I used to be strong myself, you know.
yeah.
So
Real quick, can you
yeah,
you just mentioned it, but can you just describe what was your accident exactly, just for people who are
oh,
watching?
sure. So it was a really, really, really bad car accident, and I was going to rehearsal with my band, dropped off my keyboards, and then after when they got there, they said they wanted me to grab more music stands.
Okay.
And so of course, after I emailed them already the day before, remember to bring music stands. Did they do it? No. So I went and drove back to Ithaca College to get music stands. And on my way back, it was like less than a mile from the rehearsal studio. And think about where the sun would be in the sky at about 5:30 in the afternoon on July 26th. So the other car couldn't see me, and I couldn't see them. And we went through an intersection, and the other car barely stopped. They hit me about 60 miles an hour on my driver's side. And I was sadly my humerus, broke my hip, had a bunch of other contusions, but the main one was I was internally decapitated. So
Jeez.
my head came off my spine on the inside.
Wow.
So, so they airlifted me from the accident site to one hospital, and that was when they figured out. This is fun that, did the accident and said, oh, okay, his neck looks okay. And then they said, wait a minute, that gap isn't supposed to be there.
Jeez.
And that was when they discovered that. And then I was in the one hospital for about a week, and that sounds maybe a week or two. And they decided they did not want to do the surgery to put my head back on my spine.
It's too
So,
dangerous.
yeah, well, I'm not sure what the excuse was.
Yeah.
But they airlifted me again to Thomas Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia. That was where they did the surgery. And at that time, my left arm, where the humerus was shattered, was an open wound for 2 months.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then they finally closed it. That's why my arm doesn't bend anymore.
Yeah.
But that was the main issue. So from the internal decapitation, I got a traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the back of my head. I believe I can't remember if anyone said it was the cerebellum, but it's close enough that it really affected my fine motor function. That's part of the reason why I talk the way I do.
Gotcha.
And my right arm doesn't work as well. They have a term called in-hand manipulation. Like, when you reach your hand into your pocket to get your keys out. And so that doesn't work very well. And just my body doesn't work as well as it used to.
Yeah.
Thankfully, cognitively, it's pretty intact. But otherwise, I have the brain injury
Yeah.
as a result.
So it's so just to recap that you were hit going 60 miles an hour
And
at
something
sunset, and there you shattered your arm, you broke your hip, and you're internally decapitated with an injury to your cerebellum that affects your motor skills.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. No, I mean, I've got a big scar on the back of my head,
Is
and
that
I figure that that's where what else controls your motor function in the brain, in the back of your head. I'm pretty sure that's where the cerebellum is.
okay? Man, that's and then what afterwards was it like? Did you have to learn to walk again and everything?
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I was in the hospital from the evening of July 26th all the way to December 21st.
Yeah.
So I was in CPA for a week and then spent 2 months in Thomas Jefferson in Philly and then 3 months in Mount Sinai in New York City.
Oh yeah.
And that's sort of where I really came to.
When you say came to, you mean like that's when you started to feel like Josh Oxford again?
I'm getting there. It's not,
Yeah.
it's still a process. But I'll tell you, man, the only time that I really felt like I used to was when I've taken Adderall.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was something about that. It's just like back to how I used to be. So I
Yeah.
felt like getting a prescription for that.
Gotcha. So maybe you felt like a little more juice. Is that yeah?
Yeah, I just felt more like mentally with it, and
Yeah.
it's hard to describe, but just like on the inside, it felt like it used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I got out of the hospital, I still couldn't walk and couldn't really do much of anything myself.
How long was it until you could since when I met you this was in Phoenix, you were studying at ASU for your PhD or your
Yeah.
doctorate, right? And but you were living fully on your own. Like how long was it until like you at least had the skills to live on your own, like to get around and make food and
Man, that was in the thing. So I came home in December and stood up by myself at the beginning of March. And then in May, I remember using a walker to get around.
okay.
And then I
So you
believe
can
it
start to move again in May. You were the accident was in July, so this is 9 months till you can just
was
get up with a walker.
exactly. So it was a bad, and so that was in I mean, I was able to work again in 2011. And I believe it was 2014 that I started going back to school.
Okay.
And I lived in a dorm room in Queens College. and I could do most things myself now. So one of the big things when I moved out to Arizona to get my doctorate was just to sort of prove to myself and everyone else that I could live by myself. And thankfully I had a little bit of help from people that would come by here and there. For the most part I was able to live by myself
Yeah.
and cook. Now can't remember, may have been like 2 years before that where I was I'm living in a studio apartment here in Ithaca,
Okay.
and had a rice cooker, so
Hmm.
that was my main form of sustenance
Yeah, man.
in Arizona was rice and beans and some variant therein.
Yeah, man. It's I've definitely gone through periods living out of a rice cooker too.
Oh yeah, it's good, but I kind of wish I could go back to that diet because I put on so much weight since we met each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I moved back to Ithaca, it's just skyrocketed. So, thankfully, I'm on a downward trend right now.
Nice.
And I'm hoping to keep that going.
Yeah.
Now, as you probably know, I mean, even though I work out pretty regularly, your diet has more to do with weight loss than physical activity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gotta be firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, you know what helps with that? That lion's mane.
Yeah, man. We were talking about that beforehand. It's what do you still have it? The wrapper that you from the bar?
Oh yeah, one second, let me get
What was it
this.
called again?
Maybe
IQ bar.
you can flip it around in post.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
got lion's mane in it. We've talked about lion's mane a while back. Do you notice any difference when you take in lion's mane? You said you're also
yeah,
drinking the mud water, which has lion's mane in it.
exactly. I try and have some every day, just to just help it really clears the brain fog.
You feel the difference. I always felt it too, honestly. And it like I don't really know the science behind it, but I know functionally like the mechanism that's at least I've read about happening is it repairs myelin, which is like the
Uh,
insulation on the nerves. It's kind of like the rubber on a wire, but you've got the myelin
yeah,
sheath,
yeah,
which goes around the nerves, and it repairs the degradation of myelin. Which, yeah, so I don't know. It makes sense to me that if you've got nerves that aren't operating fully, then you can take some lion's mane. It'll help get the signals firing uh,
yeah.
more
And we're saying
correctly.
with him, the lion's mane. It wasn't really part of the vernacular. My father had multiple sclerosis,
Okay.
and that is a degradation of the myelin sheathing
Yeah.
in the nerves. So I feel like if he had had lion's mane,
Yeah.
perhaps he would have been in better shape.
Yeah. It might have could have at least helped. I don't know. And I don't think it
Yeah,
can hurt. I haven't read anything about any negative side effects of myelin
the
or
only thing
lion's mane.
the only thing I've heard that my cousin, of course, had to figure this out is that, and that's something with the clotting mechanism. And because I'm on blood thinners, I'm technically not really supposed to be taking it,
Oh, okay, interesting.
but, I'm
Yeah,
still taking it. So there
yeah,
you go. I mean, in China, 2,000 years they've been using it in China. Two or three
yeah.
thousand years to enhance meditation and whatnot.
Interesting. I didn't know
Oh yeah, they've been hip to it for a long time.
that. Yeah, lion's mane is cool. I'm into the mushroom supplements. I don't take too many supplements. I'm like I kind of get freaked out by chemicals in general. Like the same way
Oh,
some people get freaked out by germs, I get freaked out by chemicals. Like
yeah, same
I
here,
just I
man.
don't if it's something smells like unnatural or if it looks unnatural, if it feels unnatural and it's on my skin, like that's like, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, you know.
Yeah,
But that's why I like the mushroom supplements since it's like it's I don't know how rational my fears of chemicals are, but at least with the mushroom
they're
supplements,
very,
at least I can like wrap my head around it. It's something that grows in the woods. It's a natural thing. It's
yeah, I was trying to find the gum that I have.
oh, do you have that? Is it the Joe Rogan gum? I've seen Joe Rogan gum that I get
Um,
hit with in my ads. It's like a nootropic. It's got brain
oh, no,
effects.
I don't know, and it's not that. I thought I had some here. It looks like it's all the way over there, but it's non-chemical gum.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
And,
there's a couple that I like too with that. But yeah, man, it's
then
that's
there's one I use called Zolls. Zelle.
so. Huh.
Yeah, and the gum is
I don't know
really
that one.
good. And, yeah, but you know what? You were the one that hit me to pure gum.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I that's good stuff. One
Yeah,
of my
and,
friends showed it to me a while back, and I always like that one. There's a couple that I like. I don't always have gum, but sometimes I'm in the mood for it, and there's a couple of those like natural ones I'll go through.
oh yeah,
Uh,
some good stuff. You were talking about supplements. You know what supplement intake that, in my opinion, is the best all natural supplement you can take?
uh, no, ashwagandha.
The Eucharist.
I
That's
don't know what it
it.
is.
That's the communion. And with the
Oh,
Catholic priest, the way
interesting.
that they bless that bread and something from another world. And so I try and have some almost every day. I feel like that's the best supplement. It's all natural, and there's something magical about the way that they bless that stuff.
Do you feel benefits from it? And so, are the benefits physical or spiritual or in
Oh
belief
yeah,
or?
definitely spiritual.
Hmm.
I can't really say physically if it doesn't make me. I just feel so much better inside myself.
Hmm.
And the whole other deep discussion about the Catholic faith and yeah,
Yeah, let's jump in.
sacrament.
Let's jump into that. This is all about the values, and I think there's definitely something there. I do want to come back to music. I like to kind of
Oh yeah,
talk
yeah.
about what people's things are, and I feel like music is a thing. But let's the church is definitely one of your things at this point too, from what I know. So dive into that. When did you get involved with the church, and what's that journey been like for you?
So so back before my accident, I used to be a substitute organist for a Methodist church. And
For a
one day,
Methodist, you said Methodist church.
yes, and I
Okay.
was doing a Christmas Eve service one day, and it dawned on me that the energy of everyone singing Silent Night was similar to the energy I got when I would play music. So there's something there in that intangible phenomenon, you know?
Can
And
you
so,
like explain what is like
just
how would you
like,
describe that energy? You're saying that the energy you saw people singing with at the church was similar to the energy you felt when you were playing your music, but like what how would you
just
describe the
like
energy
when you are in the zone.
in the zones?
It's really hard to like put in the words for me. Like, it's almost a feeling of timelessness and just so in the moment.
Yeah. Flow
And
state
just,
would is flow state of that's how
yeah,
I think of it. Yeah.
and
I think
that's a
that's my
great,
term for that phenomenon, but I think everyone's got their own way of thinking about that.
oh yeah. So that was last month, yeah. And then after my accident, I was trying to look for that feeling again. and I even went to my Catholic church for a few months, and just didn't feel anything. And then there was a band I still play with, the Galactic Escort Service. And we used to play every Monday night in Ithaca, and it was called Galactic Mondays. And I used to play synthesizer with them. And one day this woman came up to me and said, "Oh my goodness, Josh, you're great. When did you come play organ at my church?" So I said, "Okay, why not?" So I went and did that. And for the first year or so, it was just a job. And then the next year, they got a new pastor. And one day, I was having drinks with the drummer from Galactic. And I said to her, "Hey, I have to go into work." She said, "Really, just as a job at the time." Said, "I have to go into work. Should I pray for anything?" And she said, "Yeah, pray if God is real." So I said, "Okay." Went into the church, knelt down on the altar and said, "Hey, if God is real, let me know." And then I went up to the organ and opened up the hymn I was supposed to learn, and the name of the hymn was "Yes, God is Real."
That's
And that
crazy.
was when I really started to take notice. I remember from the beginning of it, and then a couple months after that, I had hernia surgery and was in the hospital for a few weeks. And the pastor of the church came and gave me communion in the hospital. And this had never happened to me before. I took the communion, ate it, and felt like they had just smoked a joint
Yeah.
and flipped me out. And I said, "What is going on here?" And then later on that year, I found out, well, actually, yeah, it was when I moved to Arizona. I found out about daily mass and said, "Wait a minute, the Catholics can make themselves feel like they got high every day? Sign me up." So, the year after that, I got into the initiation process, and well, during the initiation process, it goes on for several months. My sponsor, a very devout, charismatic, praying in tongues Catholic, brought me to the men's group meeting at the church that I'd been going to. And that was like Saturday mornings at 7 in the morning was a real commitment.
Yeah.
But anyway, one day the technology wasn't working, and they said, "All right, let's pray the rosary." Well, I had never done that before. So I did, and we did the prayers, last about 20 minutes. When I opened my eyes, I felt like I was high. And that was the moment when I said, "Okay, there's something going on here. It's not, you know, the usual stuff."
Yeah. So
So,
you're experiencing a real change in like your perception of reality in these moments.
yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So once I became a Catholic officially, I started going to Mass just about every day. And when I moved back to Ithaca, I was worried that I would not be able to do that. But then I reconnected with a friend of mine's mother, and she brings me to Mass just about every day now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so, well, the moral of the story is, that is, the best supplement to take. And if you want, I can go into even more reasons why there's something different going on. But there's a lot of evidence, and frankly, if I had known about a tangible piece of bread that would be so life changing, I feel like I would have become a Catholic sooner. That's the only way to live to something like an actual physical thing that you eat. And it's like a supplement.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. And
Do you
I
eat
feel
that?
like,
Do you eat the bread at daily mass? Yeah.
oh yeah, every day. Because the thing that makes a difference is for the Catholics actually have the priest bless it specifically.
Okay.
A lot of the Protestant denominations, they look at it as a symbolic gesture. But the Catholics believe that actually the term is called transubstantiation.
Transubstantiation.
It actually changes form and becomes the body and blood of Jesus when you eat it. And I went and done some research. There's a great website that talks about these Eucharistic miracles. When, a priest will do that, someone say, man, this is bullshit. That's not what's really going on. And then the bread will actually start bleeding.
Wow.
And then they'll take that into a laboratory, like not one that's affiliated with the church or anything. They'll take it in and put it under a microscope. And one time they actually almost called the police because when they examined it, it looked like the white blood cells in the heart of someone that was being tortured to death.
Wow.
So really changed into something different.
Yeah. So in the bread blessed by a Catholic priest is it changes into
Mm,
the flesh and blood.
yes, that is the case, and it's really, really amazing. I highly recommend that to everyone. And that, in my opinion, is the best supplement because it does make your mind a bit more in service to other people. You are a bit more, I can't think of the word, you think more about other people that way.
Interesting.
And I've also noticed I can tap into my chakras better as well. But they don't like you to talk about chakras.
Yeah,
In
that's a whole different system of thinking. But it's
the
interesting that you've
past,
integrated the Catholicism with
yeah,
the
it
chakra.
was funny, praying the rosary is very similar to what the Buddhists do with the mandalas and the beads. When there's, what's the prayer? Oh, my name, Padre, or something like that. When they have a necklace of some sort with beads, they rub, and it's very similar move. So there's a lot more between the two. But again, it's one of those things where there were centuries where meditation was frowned upon because that seemed to imply another religion. And then they all realized that meditation is universal. And I wish they would have the same viewpoint on chakras and on prayers. Being praying is not specific to any denomination or religion. To me, it's like meditation. It's just something you can do.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's kind of reminded me earlier what you were saying too about how it felt like you just smoked a joint when you
Yeah,
had like
yeah,
with those first experiences, like feeling the Catholic faith. It's it's interesting. Like these are things that classically would kind of contrast with the Catholic values, but you found a way to where it all flows together for you. Like you're getting value from all these different tools.
yeah, that's the move, you know?
Yeah,
Everything has something to offer. The only thing that bothers me about a lot of Catholics is how hateful they can be, and how upset they get by people not following the
yeah.
letter of the law specifically.
Is that something you see a lot, or is that something you just hear about?
Oh no, I've seen that.
Yeah,
But there's some violent people, like, you know, we all have free will. We can do whatever we want. And actually, I had this conversation after the party last night with this young lady about how the stuff that are looked at as rules in the Bible, I feel like are good guidelines. Like, yes, there are things that you probably should or shouldn't do. But at the end of the day, we all have free will. So we can do whatever the hell we want.
yeah. It's I that do we have free will was one of like the questions on my dating profile on the apps at one point. So I had some conversations with ladies at different points too
Yeah,
about that.
man, leave.
It's good food for thought for sure. And I tend to um land on the same side of that as you do, where we do have free will. I think to an extent, like we're kind of born into boxes where we're like on average going to be more likely to think one way than another about different things. But
Yeah,
I think we do. There's definitely an element of free will where like we're
the
individuals. We
way
can.
we can balance that on the microscopic way of existence, like if you look at the major guideposts in their life, in the what's that? Core memories, isn't that
Yeah.
the Gen Z term? Your core memories are all predetermined.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, you know, my one's decision to use the F word
Hmm.
as opposed to another word. That is where we have free will. So on the microscopic level, we don't have free will. On the microscopic level, we have free will.
Hmm.
And that's the way I look at it. If we ever go on a date,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good conversation starter. Tell me a little bit about music. It's music is that's kind of what we initially connected on. That's how we kind of got to know each other in Phoenix.
like,
And this funny story was I was doing DoorDash delivery and you ordered I don't even remember what you ordered, but I delivered it and you had a whole music setup. I was like, no way, bro, you make beats, and then we got into music. But yeah, it's you just got your doctorate from ASU in music. You're
yeah,
a professor now, right? At University of
yeah,
Ithaca University,
Ithaca
Ithaca
College.
College.
The Ithaca University is from that movie Road Trip.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'm entering my third year here, and just got the opportunity, I believe at the end of August, to apply to a full-time position.
Nice.
But, and back and forth about,
Yeah, it's a lot of energy to commit to.
yeah, I mean, 'cause it's not just teaching classes. I don't mind doing that. That's fun. But if you become full-time professor in academia, then you have to be on committees
Hmm.
and do that sort of stuff. And think about admissions
Hmm.
and retaining students and attracting students. all the sort of stuff that I'm not really that interested in. And like
You just want to do the music.
tender and promotion. Yeah. Sort of the same as composing. If all I had to do was write music, I would be very happy.
Yeah.
But then I have to like put concerts together, organize logistics, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But thankfully, when we met in that fateful evening, and it was just doing music for fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and that's to my understanding, it was you were a musician primarily before your accident, and then you lost some of you were a piano player and you play guitar too, right?
And
Percussion?
fully.
Poorly?
My main thing was in percussion. I
Okay.
went to Ithaca College for my undergrad in percussion
Okay.
and jazz too. I had to drop my jazz major to graduate on time.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other thing,
Mhm.
but yeah, so that's a marimba. And I don't do much of that anymore. I mean, I still play in that collective band, the synthesizer.
Mhm.
It's mostly composing these days.
Yeah, and did the shift from playing music to composing music happen after your accident? Was that sort of when you're
Well, that was such an interesting journey. I mean, back in the day, it was like on the side just for fun. You know, my band, the Octet, had a gig. I always felt compelled to write a new piece of music. But and then afterwards, I guess when it comes to the issue of identity, my identity as a musician was always as a performer, but never was as a composer. And then, kind of changing from I used to play music, and as opposed to I am a composer. That difference in mindset was a really big hurdle for me.
and how long did it kind of take you to make that shift? Like when did you make that shift in your
Uh,
mind from I used to play music to I am a composer?
Probably 4 years, I guess. 4 or 5 years. So let's just say 2011 was the beginning of my new life.
Yeah.
So,
And that was the year of your accident, right?
and then the accident was in 2010.
Okay, so then when
And
2011 is when you're like
that
back
was
to doing stuff.
and my first time back in Ithaca College in the music building was in a wheelchair in January.
Okay.
So that was really the beginning of it.
Yeah. Okay.
But
And then
yeah,
it
so
took
it took a few years after that to really make that shift in my brain.
yeah.
And it took probably another several months after that to realize even if I practice a bunch every day, I still wouldn't be able to play like I used to.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment in the beginning, was just coming to terms with that. And then really shifting the focus to I am a composer
Mhm.
as opposed to I used to be able to play. So instead of the idea of like how much do you concern yourself with the past and with your past? And that ties into the concept of past and future are products of the dimension that we live in and our perception of time. If we look at NDEs or people that have taken DMT and have broken through to the other side, there is no time. Everything always happens now.
Yeah, and just
So,
to spit that back at you, since that's interesting. You're saying people who've had NDEs near death experiences or tried some of the stronger hallucinogens like DMT, like they've seen the other side, kind of um the non the non-moral side of reality, and their perception of time has changed, where they
oh,
is that what you're saying?
well, there's on the other side,
On the other side,
because
they experience a
on
different
the
perception of
other
time.
side there is no such thing as time.
Okay.
In the sense that we see past and future.
Yeah.
There's only the present moment.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of stuff that Eckhart Tolle is getting at.
Yeah. Eckhart Tolle, The
There's
Power of Now. Yeah.
exactly so there's only now
Interesting.
and now. So the idea of past and future are constructs that we've created. Those that they don't really exist. And they're even finding now in quantum mechanics that you can actually change the past and change the future.
Interesting.
That's some really wild stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm probably getting a little bit too out there.
No, man, I think about a lot of this stuff. There's this cool book that I like. It's called The Power of Time Perception, and it was written by a guy, and he had like a congenital disease in his family where like his father and his grandfather had both died in their 30s. And so he just kind of like grew up with the knowledge that he was likely not going to live a very long life, because of a genetic disease that was being passed down. And so he became obsessed with the human perception of time, and he wrote this book called The Power of Time Perception, which is all about how to um like get the most out of your time, and by like being intentional about the ways in which you perceive it.
Mhm.
But yeah, he talked about some of the things we already talked about in this conversation, the flow state um and intention and all that. So it's, I don't know. I've been thinking about this stuff a lot over the past few years myself, the way time is perceived, and I've had some experiences that brought on
Yeah.
um by yeah, different uh hallucinogens and stuff like that, where I've definitely experienced for brief periods different perceptions of time. I remember one time I was out in the woods with my sister. She was kind of babysitting me when I ate a big mushroom, and I went up to her and I said, "Maggie, how old am I? Like, I know that my hair's not gray, like, but I just couldn't like think of what the time was. Like I couldn't pinpoint where I was on the timeline. I was just like I generally like I could observe myself. I could see my skin was that of I was probably 23 or something at the time. Like I could see like like I looked like I could kind of like look at myself. I was looking at a reflection in the stream, but it was hard to make out. Yeah, but I just couldn't really pinpoint like the timeline of things. Like I was just kind of lost in the present and unable to like take that step out of the present and view it.
Something that happened to you when you were on hallucinogens. 'Cause
Yeah,
I really feel like that's the way that we can connect more with the other side.
yeah,
And the idea of timelessness,
hmm
of not knowing where on the timeline you are, relates a bit to how they perceive time on the other side.
yeah. It's interesting, and that it's interesting you brought up the Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now too, since I don't know how much it contradicts the Bible, but I know it's not a super popular book in Catholic circles, and but I have heard people call it their Bible. Like I've heard multiple people refer to that book as like their version of the Bible. Like that's the main book that they go to for guidance.
And
And I like that
that
book a lot. I think all those books that are kind of like that lots of people go to are like definitely they're all worth reading, because like even if word for word it doesn't completely check out with what you believe, it's like there's reasons that people find value in these books, whether it is the Bible, whether it's Eckhart Tolle, whether it's one of the other religious books, one of the other kind of pop culture books that made an impact like that.
Good to have all the different perspectives. I love having people that so I'm really into yeah. I hate to use the word psyche because it has kind of a bad rap. But his name is Edgar Casey.
Edgar Casey.
Cayce.
Edgar Casey. Okay, I don't know him.
And he's been going to a trance and then be able to take himself out of his body and read the Akashic records.
What the Akashic records?
Yeah, it's in the Book of Life. So
Okay.
he will be able to help people with the illnesses and start talking about, past lives and all sorts of other stuff.
Where does he
Really,
go when he
really,
goes into the trance?
he'll just be laying on the couch and he would come out of his body and just go upwards, I guess,
Interesting.
to some big library. And he would be able to look at the
Oh,
Book of Life.
the book,
Really
the book
interesting
of the
stuff.
book of life. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
The book of life.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like the Akashic Records.
The Akashic
But
records.
the reason why him up was that somebody asked him when he was in a trance, what is the best religion? And the answer he came back was, whichever one you adhere to.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said. I'm a trainer, and when people ask me like, "What's the best workout system?" You got Pilates and yoga and weightlifting and CrossFit. I always just say, whichever one you're gonna do consistently for a long period of time. That's what you're gonna get the
And
most value out of.
exactly, see,
Yeah.
that's why it's so great, Jake.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had a previous guest on here, Brian Womack. It was a different episode, but he had a similar sentiment. He was kind of like you, where his like religious beliefs were primarily Christian. He was more Christian than specifically Catholic, just generally Christian. But he was kind of open to other ways of thinking, and he would take the tools from some of the other systems and add that to his like personal framework, which was like based in Christianity, but like it was not. It was kind of the what you're talking about earlier, like how some people who are religious get mad at other people for not believing. He was very happy to hear whatever anyone says. I don't know. Just, there was definitely some similarities.
And that's been doing, that people forget they asked Jesus what the two most important commandments are. And number one is love God, and number two is love thy neighbor. And
Yeah,
everything is related to that.
yeah, that's the core.
Yeah, man, I feel like that's the part that people forget about. And even if you disagree with someone completely, you still have to love them.
Yeah,
And even if they do or say some terrible stuff, at the end of the day, even if it is horrible stuff, you still love them.
yeah, that's a good way to live.
And that's the one that everyone forgets about. That happens so much. I even remember in my music fraternity, a bunch of people would get so caught up in the rules and procedure that I feel like they lose sight of the main message. And I think that's the case with Christianity, is that people get so caught up in the rules and procedures and then interpersonal conflicts, they miss out on like the really important stuff.
I've thought that too, but a little differently. The way I was thinking about it recently was like, people get too caught up on the differences and lose sight of the similarities. It's like there's common threads in a lot of these religions and a lot of these politics, but it's everyone fixates on the distinctions, the differences. But it's like we lose sight of like, well, really, like most people want similar things, have similar values. But it's like
Exactly.
the differences are where people's attention goes, and then they get overinflated and like how representative they are of the actual value differences. It's just because you're,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, everyone likes to think about the differences more so.
yeah. But like pretty much everyone
Mhm.
can get behind like love thy neighbor. Like and like everyone kind of shares that, even though like maybe they have a different catchphrase
Uh,
for it.
well, the problem is when you get into really difficult interpersonal conflicts and still maintaining that perception.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like,
hard to to lose you lose sight when you get heated.
I want to say real quick is you brought up politics. Now, a great quote I heard from Frank Zappa was that politics is the entertainment division of the military-industrial complex. And
That's pretty good.
definitely agree with that. Whatever we see as politics, it's just, it's like entertainment news.
Yeah, it's
Just to like divide people. That's the whole thing. They want to divide everyone.
yeah,
So we go to war. So the military industrial complex can make millions of dollars.
yeah,
That's the whole point of all that stuff. So they create, that's why they like having a two-party system. Because you can divide people more easily.
yeah,
And that's exactly what they want. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that's what's actually going on. There's like a couple dozen billionaires that really control what's going on.
yeah,
And everything else is just, to that service in a way.
yeah. I'll say as far as the entertainment division goes, they're getting more and more engaging. They're getting better at engagement for sure.
Oh, yes, exactly. And look at Twitter.
I know, man. It's yeah, they're getting retweets.
Yes. If you're ever in Ithaca, New York, make sure to go to Gola, Australia. GOLA, the best Italian restaurant in Ithaca.
Gola Italian restaurant. There you go,
Mm-hmm.
representing. Do you know the owners there?
I knew that. I think it's actually my cousin, really. I think his great grandmother and my great grandmother were either sisters or cousins or something.
Gotcha. That's cool.
So, yeah, it's supposed to go there every Wednesday.
Nice. Yeah, you're a very routine person. I remember that you had places you would go different days of the week and stuff like that. Have you always been like that?
Yeah, I'm just like having a routine.
Yeah.
Maybe I was a bit more spontaneous before my accident.
Do you think the routine just kind of like helped you like reestablish
And
your
listen, I
lifestyle?
give it direction.
Yeah. I'm trying to build my own routines. That's why I ask. I have like a Excel spreadsheet I track certain things on, like
Oh, I
skills I
do.
want to develop and my workouts and stuff like that. But I'm
Yeah,
trying to get a little more systemized about it. It's still kind of random.
you have probably heard the joke if you do a lot of work with Excel. You're a real freak in the sheets.
Is that the joke? Oh, I see what you're saying. The spreadsheets. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely a freak in the spreadsheets. It's yeah, that's I've even when I was a kid, I would just download baseball stats and put them in Excel
Oh,
and
yeah.
move them around and sort them and stuff. I don't know.
And that was how I learned how to write when I was a little kid by taking my father's CDs and writing down the track listing
Yeah,
and then writing down who played what.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny, man. When you're a kid, it's like you spend so long like learning two things. Like I'd spend all day just
yep.
learning how to copy and paste. But yeah, it's yeah, it's cool.
It's funny, back in my day, instead of the command on the Mac, it was an apple.
Mm-hmm.
So I still say Apple C, Apple V,
That's funny.
as opposed to Command C,
Yeah.
Command V.
Yeah, talk about core memories right there.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, you know how I got hip to some of that Gen Z lingo?
Is it from your students?
The Gen Z Bible on TikTok.
The
Mm.
Gen Z
There
Bible on
was
TikTok.
there was a real Boston wedding funny. I mean, something funny anyway. The one says often, Mary was a pick-me girl for God and was singing to him in praise.
Is it just like a tag for Gen Z lingo memes? Is that what the Gen Z Bible is?
Oh no, it's the actual translation of the New Testament in
Oh,
Gen Z lingo.
oh, that's funny.
So what's really interesting about it is that it preserves the meaning of the text
Yeah,
and the stories. But instead of somebody saying, alright, Jesus is a real one.
that's funny.
Some of the time tree. And he died for your alms.
Pretty
I was
good.
like, I love that sort of stuff. And it's really interesting. And I feel like it hits differently, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's funny. I didn't know that there was a thing called the Gen Z Bible that was like I didn't know that was a thing, but I had seen a meme of like sections of that, like where it's like passages from the Bible translated into Gen Z terms.
Oh yeah, and probably from that Bible.
Yeah, I didn't know there was. I just thought it was someone online making funny content, but that's interesting.
Yeah. No cap.
No cap, yeah. That's what yeah.
Yeah, some great stuff.
Um,
I want to circle back real quick.
yeah.
You were talking about supplements. The other supplement that I take is called Pineal XT Gold. It's a supplement that specifically enhances the pineal gland.
Okay, and one more time, it
And
was called
this,
Pineal XT Gold.
yeah, Pineal.
Okay,
It works on the pineal gland.
yeah,
You know, a third eye helps them and enhances it. So you end up, I've been taking it for a few months now, and it just went into more synchronicities.
interesting.
And there's more tapped in to what the other side of them. But it's really fascinating stuff.
What's it made out of? Is it made out of plants or is it compounds or
It's got all sorts of stuff in it.
what is it based in Eastern medicine, Western medicine?
Yeah, let me look at I took a picture of them. And the listening feeling. It's got a lot of the similar stuff as in the mud water.
Interesting. I think kind of a common
Uh,
theme in this conversation has been like different belief systems that have overlap. So it's interesting that these two different supplements you're taking, one of them is like marketed as like I'd say from what I've seen about mark like from Mudwater, it's marketed towards this might just be the ads that are targeted at me. They might have other ads targeted for other demographics, but they're targeted for like people who are trying to be more productive and are trying to be efficient and optimize their
yeah,
results and stuff like that. And then you've got the pineal gland, which is for people who are the pineal XT Gold, the other supplement, which is marketed for people who are trying to enhance their third eye. Um, they can get in touch spiritually, get synchronized. Synchronicity was the word he used, but like it's interesting that there's a lot of overlap in the ingredients because maybe at the end of the day, like we're all kind of looking for similar similar benefits, and that there's just different belief systems to chip away at those benefits. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's all about leveling up in the end. And the big thing for me is that life is like a video game.
yeah,
And there was a game I used to play when I was a little kid called Dragon Warrior. And whenever you needed to save your game, you would go to the priest.
interesting.
So that was the end of it. And then with the idea of gaining experience points and leveling up
Yeah, it's
and just have forward progress.
is in the video game of life. Is there a final level, or is it infinite?
No, I think it's infinite.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's, I know, my sister passed away last year. And I remember she came to me in a dream one day. The first couple times I just started crying. And then one day I finally had the other, she said, Jack, there is no such thing as death.
Wow.
And so it really is infinite. So however much you level up or level down in this lifetime, you have to look forward to the next one.
Yeah, that's pretty
But,
powerful. And, man. So
and
and just to recap that, just make sure your sister passed away. You saw her in your dream 3 times. First 2 times, you didn't have the courage to talk to her, but on the third time you did, and she told you that there is no such thing as death.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, another level forever.
Yeah, very important to remember that. But, we gotta make the best of what we have. Level up as much as we can now.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's yeah, that's like the common thread. Is just like finding ways to take advantage of our time here, take advantage of the skills that we've accumulated.
And speaking of time and going back to music, that's another Frank Zappa quote that music is just a way to decorate time.
That's pretty good.
And it was a good cap. It's just however you choose to decorate the passing of time.
Yeah, I like that.
However you choose to do it.
Yeah,
And how important are drums in that decoration? That seems to be the real crux of a lot of things. Like,
I think so too. I was just talking about that. Like the drums is like it was just the tempo, you know. It's the tempo is I think that's what's at the crux of everything. The drums represent that in music, but it's like
sometimes that's a whole. I mean, to me, the drums really represent groove.
groove.
I mean, does the music have a groove? And you can have some groovy music without drums. But at the end of the day, that is what influences the aspect of groove in a lot of music.
Interesting.
And dancing too. 'Cause I mean, think about back in the 1700s, 1800s. They didn't have a drum set, but everyone was dancing to the music.
Yeah,
And nowadays we have drums and drum machines to really make us dance.
yeah. I'm a big fan of drum machines.
Same here. I mean, we were doing some of that, making beats.
Yeah, back in Phoenix.
And gotta have the 808.
Yeah, I do that. I think that 808s will forever be my favorite drum packs.
Well, I'm saying, you know what? The move I always do is to take an 808 bass drum and made it with a wind drum bass drum.
What was the second
So
one?
wind drum.
Lindrum?
Yeah, that was
I don't know.
if I remember right, that was the first drum machine to use digital samples.
Oh, cool.
So all of the other drum machines at that time were all that the sounds were generated electronically. And actually one of the key ingredients with the 808 was that there was a certain electrical component that was defective. And they found all of these defective million transistors. And that was what gave the 808 that distinctive sound.
Mm-hmm.
That had a broken component in it.
Oh, okay.
That was the same with the minimum too. That part of the signal path that did a wrong calculation and ended up overdriving the filter too much. And then they said, nah, we're not going to fix that. It sounds good that way. The same with the 808. It would be better if they used components that actually worked. By having a broken transistor is what gave it that sound. And I know it all comes back to the idea of imperfection being what really makes stuff happen, not perfection.
Yeah. I remember there was one time when we were making a beat at your apartment in Phoenix, and I had a metal water bottle, and you had a concrete floor, and I dropped the metal water bottle on the concrete floor, and the mic picked it up, and then we ended up like completely. It's a side railed our what we were doing at the time. And we ended up like using that. It was kind of like just a dong,
Yeah.
but we used that. That became a integral part of the beat.
Yeah, that was a great one. There was the cell phone sound
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that was that one.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, well. It's funny. Every time I hear that song, I think of you and the beat that we
I
made.
know it's funny, and it's just got that trigger, that
And,
that repetition and the
mm-hmm.
decoration of time.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very important stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
all right, Joshua. I wanted to just kind of get an understanding for what you're doing and kind of how you got to where you're at. I think we've got that, and I really like exploring the common threads, and I think they came up a lot in here. So
Yeah, hopefully you can coalesce that into something more cohesive.
coalesce is a good word there.
But yeah, I think it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the basic idea is that I wasn't performing the musician. I still am a performing musician, but now I mainly do other stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the identity. You're adding on to the identity, not yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those rags that rolls along and picks up stuff along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Tumbleweeds.
Well, cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on here. It's
And
as
future
always,
you
it's always it.
too.
We
Thank
always
you, man.
I appreciate like these abstractions we get into when we have our discussions. It's
Well, you got me feeling wild there.
yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't get me excommunicated.
Hopefully not. I think everything you say is everything you're saying here is something that you can get behind, even if it's not verbatim what your belief system is. It all makes sense to me. Well, awesome, man. We'll leave it at that. But thanks, Josh, and yeah, great to talk.
Thank you, Jake. Till next time.